Hey y'all, it's Brandon, and I've got another little fun project for you. This is a mug tree. I know it looks like something out of a Tim Burton movie, but this is it's a wall-mounted rack to hold coffee mugs. But there's some forging and some welding in this one, so let's get started. Here's our starting material. Here's a good-sized piece of 1-inch rebar, a few pieces of 1/2 inch. And this is the bottom cut off of a pressurized cylinder. Now this is going to be the plate that attaches to the wall. So the first thing I'm going to do is throw this in the forge and burn the paint off of it and let this normalize. Normalizing, of course, is heating it to non-magnetic and then letting it slow cool just to room temperature. Let that slowly cool off. Our tank bottom that we heated up first thing needs to be wire wheeled. Well, I got most of it out. See if we can get the rest of it with a die grinder. There we go. Ready to go. We're going to need to drill a couple of holes in this, so I'm going to center punch it to keep my bit from walking. Now we'll start tapering down the 1-inch wide stock. Oh, that's nice and warm. Let's get into the power hammer. Out to a point. Well, drawing out is making it longer. We drew it out to a point. So we've made a dull point there, and we did this square. Now we're going to round it. To round it, we're going to hit the corners. And once we hit these corners, there'll be more corners. And we hit those corners, and those corners, and those corners, and eventually there won't be any more corners, and it'll be round. Okay, that right there is going to be round enough. Now, you can go through and remove every one of those hammer marks if you want to. You want to do that at actually about the heat it's at now, just a black heat. You can take those hammer marks right out. But we're going to leave them because I like the way that it looks with the texture left from a hammer. And so do most of my customers. Unless they don't, and then they tell me, and I make it that way instead. Hey, squiggly wiggly time now. That's going to give us our squiggly wiggly effect. Need to get it hotter further down. Straightening it up a little. You can have it too squiggly wiggly. That right there looks like about the right amount of squiggly wiggly to me. We're going to let this cool down so we can cut it. In the meantime, we need to get started on some hooks. So we'll throw some of this 1/2 inch in there. Now there's absolutely no reason why you cannot do this by hand. Now we come over to the anvil. We're going to take about 1.5 inches, hang it over the side, bring it back. We're going to make a real shallow hook, then hang it over the side of the anvil. Bend it 90 degrees. Cooled off enough to cut. Now we need to put the fat end in the forge. Got our pieces wire brushed. There we go. Now we can start putting our little limbs on. We're going to tack everything first. Come back and stick it good. I'm kind of holding these at right angle. I do a lot of eyeballing. It's a very technical process. This is what it'll look like once you've wire brushed it and mounted it to something. You're probably not going to want to mount it to a board in your shop that's kind of clamped to your welding table. But I wonder what it would look like with mugs on it. Here's our finished product, complete with mugs. You can change your spacing however you want. You can make your hook sizes larger or smaller. It's just an idea, get you thinking, something you might can do. A little bit of forging, a little bit of fabrication, but they're neat. They're all going to be a little different, and people seem to like them. Well, y'all, that's about all there is to that one. I hope y'all got something out of that. You don't have to use the same material that I used. You can use just a plate to mount it to the wall. You could texture it. You could do some chisel work on it. You can use square stock, round stock, octagonal stock, whatever you can think of for the uprights and the little arms that come off the tree, or limbs, or whatever we're calling those. So once again, this is just a starting point, and you can let your imagination run wild. But this time of year, these kinds of projects are good to keep in mind with holidays coming up. And I know you got that one weird uncle or somebody that you can't ever get anything for. Well, they don't have one of these. So anyway, y'all behave yourselves. So I did a video that got a lot of attention. Well, a lot of attention for me anyway. And it's really the first time I've ever gotten any mean comments. And some of them are pretty funny. But see, I've been called bald, and they said I didn't have any empathy, and I was homeless, and I was overweight. Those were 4 that really stood out to me. And I would just like to, for the record, state that I am not homeless. Got a home. The rest of those are fair.